Welcome to Pure Country Reacts, and we are reviewing another BTS, BTS episode. This is going to be the Kimchi Battle, and if you don't know, I think kimchi is a really popular dish in South Korea, and my daughter is trying to learn Korean right now, and she's been researching and looking, and she's very much a foodie in that she is very open, way more open than I am, about trying other ethnic dishes, and she's been looking into a lot of the Korean dishes. I know that they are heavily influenced by Americans who are present in South Korea. However, she's looking into more of their traditional stuff. So we're still trying to stay in order, and so this next one we got is the Kimchi Battle. So sit back, enjoy, and maybe even get you a snack you might want to eat after this.
자, 뭔가 냄새가 올라오네요.
네, 정말
무슨 냄새죠?
어딘가요?
한국의 중심입니다. 얼핏 보니까 배추 있고
딱 보면 알 것 같아요.
네, 김치를
So I totally got the layout there.
지역별 김치가 되게
모양 자랑 좀 해주세요. 거창에 무슨 김치가 유명한가요?
거창에는 이제 김치에 불을 넣습니다.
와.
Yeah, I did read into that.
물김치.
경상도에는 뭐 어떻게 하나요?
저희 어머니 김치가 제일 유명한데요.
네.
그래도 할 때 어머니 찬스 가능합니까?
네. 60초.
I was going to call his mom and ask for some help for 60 seconds. Like I said, this is, I think, pretty much a staple in their food. This is something that's very popular, and the most popular seems to be the kimchi made out of cabbage.
Napa cabbage.
And for those people who don't like cabbage, then you're probably going to miss out. We do like cabbage, different types of preparations for cabbage. So, like I say, Lexi's looking into some of this, and we'll probably try some of our own.
Especially on the good days if everything doesn't go to hell in America right now.
Yeah, you know, right now we're getting some bare shelving going on around here. Maybe
It'll be on a good day when I try these
we
things.
may be living on ramen noodles in the next little bit. Who even knows? The bare shelves Biden, I know, had been trending at one time, so I don't really know the trucking things, bottlenecks, and the Capitol and all that. So hopefully we'll be able to try some of these things in the near future, and if we do, we'll definitely share those in our cooking portion. We haven't added to that lately because I only want to add when we're making something new and when we're making something a little different and not something that's very common. So anyway, so let's look at this and let's see how they do. Now, I want to go ahead and say this in advance. This person you're seeing right here is Jen, and Jen is actually the person who's cooked for them a lot, right?
He still cooks for them.
He still cooks for them a lot, and a lot of them are actually cooking for themselves now, but in the beginning he was pretty much the primary person who did the cooking, so he's very versed in a lot of this stuff that he makes. So this is probably not going to be a big issue for him because he is versed with cooking just in general.
김치 한번 담가볼까요? 김치.
Well, I think it's because him and his brother cooked a lot.
Yeah, maybe so.
I'm
Maybe
willing to
so.
say. I think a lot of their parents worked a lot, so they kind of had to figure out how to cook for themselves a lot of times, even if it was just instant ramen, because South Korea is actually very famous for instant ramen. Yeah,
That is staple too.
Yeah, the thing is, even though it originated from China and it's more known in Japan, South Korea is definitely very known for completely instant noodles because they have every variety. They do have, and ramen obviously is something that college people like to live on around here, or people who are living on a very tight budget. Ramen is a very simple, quick dish that you can have, and they will jazz up ramen like nobody's business. See, because there was one, when I was looking into ramen making, there was one girl who had an article where she said she had lived in a college campus and she ate nothing but ramen, but on a good weekend day she would jazz it up. Yeah. Because typically ramen has dried veggies and dried meats in there that when you warm up and with its broth, it typically refreshes it. So typically you already have that, but she wanted to jazz it up with like fresh stuff too.
So that was maybe the highlight of her week or whatever. So, and they do that a lot of things to their ramens. And like I say, if you're on a tight budget, ramens is a good choice unless you're somebody like me who is trying to stay away from the carbs. I may end up living on ramens too. I don't really know. We'll just cross that bridge when we get to it. However, we could probably get a lot of ideas from these guys because they do eat ramens even for breakfast.
Oh yeah, because that's typically what they eat for breakfast in a lot of Asian countries. Is typically noodles or soup-based stuff.
And carbs are very filling, but these guys are constantly working and they're constantly active, so that's why they're not going to blow up like somebody like me who actually sits when I do my job, and I don't get out a whole lot. So that's why I'm clinging to the non-carbs type of eating.
Diet.
But the diet. We may be going to ramens too, but you're going to enjoy this really, and
It's always interesting to watch other people of ethnicities cook their traditional stuff. It's always interesting to watch.
I love to watch different cultures and how they do things, and as many videos as we've watched, and we've watched stuff that's way beyond this, and they do ramen a lot. They do kimchi a lot. They do different versions of kimchi, which was the kimchi pancakes.
Kimchi pancakes, kimchi stews. There's a lot of variations.
They do. They really do, and they I think are probably heavily into a lot of seafood as well.
Yeah, because they have a lot of spicy soups and stews with seafood in it. But the only thing I would take out for my taste buds is the clams and the oysters. I just don't feel comfortable with those right now. I may can try them later on in life, but they have to be cooked for my taste.
She does like the squid, if it's cooked properly. So,
And
but they, octopus. They do a lot of different things with their seafoods as well. But these people are extremely healthy for the most part because of their diet, and that's just the way they are. It's not that they're trying to do anything to be healthy. It's just that is their diet. That is their staple. That is the type of foods that they live on. Not a lot of fried, fatty.
Because really,
foods.
from what I've seen, you don't really see many heavy set or overweight or considered overweight Koreans. You just typically don't.
And they're usually pretty active as well.
The only time they sort of kind of get that way is if they're female and they've had kids, but that's acceptable because you've been a mother, so that's not really looked down upon.
Right.
They say the younger ones typically just look down on to be sort of overweight, which I don't get, but
Yeah, well, we've sort of kind of seen some that were thought to be overweight, and they weren't overweight at all.
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay, so let's move forward. They're talking about actually what some of the things is that they use for making kimchi.
Well, it's depending on the region. Some of them know the region kimchis because their parents, I think, probably stick to that. But I think Hobie's might be burrito leaf kimchi. I can't remember. I saw where they said the different kinds in the regions, but I think there's only like 6 large regions, and there's Jeju all by itself.
And they have a lot of coastline, which is too the probably the reason for a lot of seafood. And seafood is good for you too.
That's very good for you. You just want them to be cooked, since you don't want parasites.
와, 이거 단소 아닌가요?
Bamboo.
Hobie's true.
Okay, let's try to partner.
뭐 바꿔 그냥 한 명씩 오픈할까?
Well, what you want to change? Everybody's probably going to want to be on Jen's team because Jen knows that they know that Jen can cook. So
I'd be fine with whoever, as long as I'm cooking with somebody.
yeah. Okay, so they got it was.
Is burrito leaf kimchi, though. I think there was the Napa cabbage, and then there was the cubed radish kimchi.
Yeah, and then they got which one of those is the burdock?
Burdock.
It just said burdock.
We'll go back for a second.
Yeah, burdock kimchi.
Yeah, I think.
Really from burdock. I guess we'll find out though. This is, like I say, I just love to watch different cultures, and they do share their culture with their fans and people who just maybe stumble on it. It's very interesting. All
김치 설명 나와. 김치 설명. 안녕하세요, 삼김입니다.
right, so there's the Kim team.
야, 그 깻잎김, 두홍김치
Okay, and they have not heard of the burdock.
And burrito leaf. Yeah.
우리 스위트 만들어야지.
I actually hadn't heard of that one. I've heard of like several others.
저희 팀의 김을 맡고 저희
That's what's bad though, is the Napa cabbage kimchi is the most famous and everyone would go to first
Yes.
instead of the variations.
기가 막히게 하거든요.
요리는 또 우리 진영이 또
I'm
See?
sure.
Jen.
초등학교 때 5년 동안
Jen and Sugar is just, I think, looked past because Jen's the one that's known for cooking.
Right.
뭐 석진이 형 시킨 거 열심히 하면 돼.
김치 간단합니다. 배추 일단 소금물에 절입니다. 하루를 기다려야 되기 때문에 저희는 퇴근을 합니다. 내일
And actually did find the recipes of how long you're supposed to ferment them.
And what they're talking about, and what Lexi just mentioned is the thing is they don't take Napa cabbage and throw some stuff on it. The cabbage actually has to be fermented with certain things and for a set amount of time in order for it to be kimchi or suitable for kimchi. So there is a process, and it is sort of lengthy.
Because typically, from what I saw, kimchi can be stored for a long while. Because the recipe I got for the easy kimchi was for a bowl this big. You could store it. I think she said for like a few weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And
she's a Korean woman, so I know she knows her
and
stuff.
I'm not really sure, the way things are around here. You got aged cheese, which usually is better when it's aged. They say wines are better when they're aged. So kimchi, maybe one of those things as well. I'm not really sure.
Probably. I mean, 'cause it is mostly a veggies, and it's got a couple seafood components if you wanted that in there.
Oh, here's that woman that was, she's some kind of a kimchi person. Licensed in Korean cuisine. Okay.
You don't have a Korean cook without them knowing how to cook kimchi.
Right.
That'd be a sin, I think.
Okay.
Or they can call their moms.
Yeah.
Like she was planning to do.
Let's go.
All that stuff looks good.
That is a lot of ingredients.
Well, they section it off for the certain ones that use it for theirs.
이날은 3cm 구유 써놓으니까 제가
그렇죠. 이게 3cm입니다.
이 정도? 이 정도?
And they use the metric system as well.
Yes.
이게 20cm예요.
That's one thing I thought was really sweet of the Korean woman with her article. She did convert it to our way of measurements.
Okay.
So at least I understand what she's talking about. Some more considerate.
너무 빠르지 않아요? 수육은 금방인데 이건 시간이 오래.
And that is another thing that they do a lot is they do a lot of pork.
Oh, they love pork.
Which to me is really not very healthy, but I think they figured out a way to actually do that where it is something they can eat a good bit of time. It doesn't-
They don't eat the fatty parts.
Right.
Except for pork belly, but they usually cut that into slices where it looks like bacon.
Yeah, because it's probably really close to it. It did come from a pig.
It's calling his mom.
맞는데. 여보세요? 예, 깻잎 절이는 거
That's
맞잖아요.
hilarious.
그래 하면은 지저분하게 쫙 이렇게 한번 버려보세요. 힘껏 쫙 해봐봐 한 번에 그렇게 예
한 번에 쫙.
I wouldn't mind trying all the variations of kimchi.
예쁘게.
자 따라해봐.
'Cause I never know if my taste buds are gonna like more if I don't try it.
이렇게 그래가 너 통으로.
Oh, that was the radish right there, was it not?
I'm thinking.
좋아요. 요리 좀 괜찮아요? 그렇죠? 요리를 좀 해. 농담 아니라.
Yeah,
I actually believe that.
Sugar is a good cook.
Like I said, I think that's just overlooked a lot
Right.
because of Jen.
Because of Jen, yeah.
And it's not Jen's fault. It's just people typically just stereotype Jen as being the cook, so they look past Sugar or anybody else that cooks.
Okay, now that is the radish right there. So maybe that other thing they were cutting was an onion.
I think it's part of the onion because they do put onion in the radish portion.
하겠습니다.
오케이, 어머니.
I think they do like sliced onion in the radish in the cabbage.
Now I know I am not a radish fan, so
I've never had radish before, so I can't comment.
come on. We're talking about kimchi. I'm going to definitely have to do the cabbage, just because I like cabbage.
그쪽 뭐 하세요? BGM인가요?
Yeah, I gotta go back to that other woman's article. She did have all the variations of kimchi cooked before, so.
나 약간 숙련자의 손길이 될
He's just talking about his talent in cooking the entire time.
굉장히 정성이 많이 들어가가지고 다 넣어야 될 것 같은데.
굉장은 정성입니다.
They working on it, man. They gotta get everything cut and sliced first.
Exactly.
Mise en place always comes first in the
Always.
worst cooks universe.
형 20세기.
Well, actually, in just the universe of cooking,
Professional cooking, at least.
you just have all your stuff together.
Where everything can just be cooked at the appropriate times.
근데 형 그거 몰랐어요?
Because you're busy cutting stuff and cooking other stuff, it'd be overcooked, to be honest.
세상에서 제일 슬픈 채소는?
So burdock is one of those things. I would definitely gotta look up burdock.
I got my phone right here.
또 데코는 또 제가 하겠습니다, 형님.
그래 데코 너가 해주고 그 그릇 좀 많이 좀 찾아줘.
형 또 빈 그릇 하면 또 이런 걸 좀.
그릇 달라고.
또 빈 그릇 하면 이런 걸로 해야지.
I think Jimin wants to go with what his mom said.
야,
Trust your mama. She knows.
Hey, he's made it this far.
I think
Mom.
because he said that she had the best kimchi in the town that he's from, or at
And
least the village he's
and
from.
his dad does own a restaurant, so.
박진과 김남준과 김세영은 치사하다. 아, 어떻게 이런 단어밖에 없냐, 치는. 그럼 당근으로 해주세요, 당.
네가 하자. 당.
당신은 근성 있는 남자.
아. 늦게는 우리 깍두기 먹는 거 있잖아요. 생각하면서 자르고 나서 그 넓이는 상관없거든요. 뭐 하트를 하던.
So typically it tastes like a mushroom or potato, but it's typically cooked in broths. So this would be actually,
Burdock.
yeah.
아, 이쁘다, 이쁘다.
What does the burdock look like, though?
비 하나는 레몬.
근데 약간 힘.
Okay, so that's what they were peeling.
자 이거 특별한.
Yeah, it's a native to Europe and Asia.
여러분 나중에 이거 먹어보시면.
Well, actually, if it tastes anything like a mushroom, I don't want to have nothing to do with it.
Well,
Potatoes,
it says mostly
yes.
tastes like potatoes, or
I can do that.
it typically tastes like a little hardiness.
이게 안
So.
자르고 그냥 이렇게만 하면.
Okay, what is that green stuff? I'm trying to figure out myself what some of this is. That's,
깍두기가 너무 크네.
is that some kind of, it's not onions because I see the onions there.
야 비누 아니야? 그 정도야?
Or is it?
아이고 와.
I'm confusion.
와, 우리 엄마는 이런 거 어떻게 했을까요?
She and Mama, she can do it.
Moms can do it.
여러분 제 마음을.
Yeah, and she had two sons. She has Jimin, and Jimin has a brother.
Jihyun. Jihyun. I'm not sure his
Jihyun,
name.
okay.
필요하면 그 써.
I know a couple of their siblings' names.
이거 이쪽에.
Some of them are a little hard to pronounce, but you know, because I don't want to be culturally insensitive by pronouncing it wrong.
Oh, okay. He said that was. Did he say that was spring parsley? Did I see
Yeah,
that right?
I think.
I was wondering if it was parsley. I didn't know. I didn't want to say it was because parsley and cilantro look the same. Definitely different smells and tastes.
Especially since cilantro is more peppery.
아, 이렇게 하면 되는
I
거예요?
love cilantro.
And the thing with cilantro too is, and they're not using cilantro. It's just parsley looks the same, which is when I'm going in the cilantro field. Is
세상은 발달했습니다.
cilantro? Some people can't do it. They say it tastes like soap, and then other people don't like it, and then there are people who like it. We happen to be the people who like cilantro. Scallions, yes, scallions.
I've learned to love scallions.
So she's working on the onion liking. She's slowly adding those to some of the things that we make
I'm
here at the
a
house.
little iffy on some ingredients, especially of how they're used or how they're cooked. But
Okay, there's the scallions right there. Look at the pretty knife he's holding.
it's very pretty.
시작한 지 몇 분 정도 됐습니까? 30분이요? 야, 30분 동안 난 진짜 당근밖에 안 한 거야.
Mood.
아, 슬프다.
Take the tips of your fingernails for sure.
Yeah, some of the materials you use for cutting worries me sometimes.
This here is the part I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know what all that red stuff is, and I haven't been.
Oh, it's the kimchi sauce and all that, because they're gonna mix it up all together.
I mean, I get that part. What is in the kimchi sauce? It's red. Is it spicy? You know. I think kimchi is supposed to be spicy, is it not?
Yeah, but you can bump down or bump up the spice level depending on what you want.
이거를 안에서부터 안
Okay, so they're trying to basically ferment it as quickly as they can.
한 겹씩 이렇게 발라주는 게 제일 좋아요. 그러면 이제.
So that's what they're working for. That is the Napa cabbage.
제가 이런 바르는 걸 많이 봤습니다.
말라버려.
와, 야, 이걸로 운동해야 되겠다. 야, 와,
아 매워.
야, 진짜 얘 김치 담그는 것도 일이다.
야 이건 그나마 다 소를 만들어 주셨으니까 그렇지 사실 소부터 다
Basically,
만들어야 돼.
spicy fermented cabbage, a kind of sauerkraut, but with Korean flavors, garlic, ginger, and Korean chilies. And I think gochujang is in there as well.
Gochujang. That must be the
That
official.
is the oh, Jungkook looks like he's gonna die. You can just see it in the eyes, though.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like,
Oh, she's getting down in there too.
but she's
Yeah.
trying to show them how to actually mix it together.
Oh, she's rolling it. It looks like.
See, because you can store it easier that way, and also gets the sauce all nice and cooped up in there.
이렇게 해서 이렇게 돌돌 말아서 이렇게 먹는 거예요 원래.
He's already tasting it. Oh, no. Is that even cooked?
괜찮습니까?
Okay, and you said one of the things that was in there was, what'd you say was in kimchi again? The sauce?
garlic, some variations of sauerkraut chips.
There, sauerkraut. That is the one cabbage that I don't like is when they make sauerkraut out of it.
Well, sometimes they say some is variations.
But the spices in there sound really good though.
Like I said, I've looked up several Korean dishes and everything in there looks really good. I typically like spicy food.
Look, Jimin's always sharing. It's so sweet. I wash my hands, he says. Bless him. I wash my hands. Here, taste this.
At least the worst cooks in America world would commend him for washing his hands.
Exactly. Okay, so they're saying the fish sauce is missing.
나도 한 입만 형.
Man, when they get a bite, man, it's not a bite. That's like a baseball-sized amount of cabbage.
Well, because they typically break the Napa cabbage into thicker pieces. They don't have it in small little bites, so they have to have that whole
원래
big
경상도가
piece.
약간 짜게 먹어요.
여기는 경기도야.
태영아, 네가 경상도 하니까 뒤에서 선생님이 거기 경기도식인데.
정확하게 뭐가 떨어졌는데 어떤 거를 붙였는지.
The sticky rice. No, no, no.
Yeah, Jen has a brother.
No.
좀 주세요.
Mood, Hobie.
고무장갑 하나 더 없나요?
You'll get it. You got plenty of time.
제 손가락을 썰었네요. 죄송합니다. 손가락 안으로 지금 많이 들어왔어요.
Dude.
He cut his glove with the knife, so I think the kimchi sauce had gotten into the hole with the glove.
할머니도 그렇고 할아버지도 그렇고.
The look
이제 됐다 이거.
of that.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't your finger.
이렇게 놓고 여기 위에 바르고 또 놓고 바르고 이렇게.
그렇지. 같이 겹쳐가 계속 얹어주는 거.
It's me.
형 근데 매력적 있게 찍혔어요. 괜찮아요.
매력점.
네, 매력적.
So yeah, it looks like they're making those little pod things out of it, and then they're putting it in something else.
젓가락 한번 찍어보지 않나요?
찔러보면 어떻게 돼요? 막 걔가 막 펄떡거리나요?
너의 맘을 찔러.
야, 저 호비 진짜 프로만.
Now on the right side, obviously, they're doing the kimchi with the Napa cabbage. This side here on the left that you see, they're doing it with the radish. So they're doing radish kimchi, and I don't think it's called radish kimchi. It's just kimchi
이게
with
설탕인가?
radishes, I guess.
제가 제 경험을 미뤄봤을 때 설탕을 좀 많이 넣어야 될 것 같아요. 그래야지 약간 맛이 나는.
너무 예쁘게 잘하시.
와 이런 거 진짜 어머니들 어떻게 하시는 거지?
다 같이 마마를 들으면서
진짜 머리, 어깨, 무릎, 발, 막 허리, 척추. 제 이번 척추 다 아파요. 진짜.
와 잘했다.
Okay, and Sugar's doing the burdock kimchi too.
봐봐요. 이거를 한 통을
Bro, Jen was on the floor doing that by himself for the longest time. I remember because I think somebody did a meme of it because I think V and RM were struggling to get the gloves on them. And then Jen was like, I'm down here making this by myself. You
Yes,
need to hurry
yes,
up.
야, 장사하냐
I feel so bad for him sometimes because he typically just does cooking all the time by himself.
Well, I think that's changing though.
Yeah, a lot of them offer their help. I mean, because I think there was one time, I think during the soup season 2 they did recently, some of them were helping him cook.
A lot of there's a lot of videos out there with them all actually cooking.
형아.
And of course, V's on his own, he's in his own little world, as usual.
Hey, I always is. He's like, I tried, it's good.
Is it edible?
I'm not gonna poison you.
야, 진짜
You should trust Jimin. He's trusting his mama.
Yeah,
Mama cooking is the best cooking.
that's right.
Well, at least if your mom knows how to cook, which fortunately my mama does.
Thank you.
I learned a lot of my cooking skills from her,
슈가 투입.
especially since we Southern people. And I also learned the Southern way.
Yes, we don't do a lot of fried though, because fried is not good for my
Well,
husband.
I can't do a lot of fried either because my stomach can't handle it.
She can't do the greasy stuff. It does tend to make her nauseous.
맛있어요. 감독님 한번 드셔보실래요?
Okay.
진짜 맛있는데.
I'm trying to figure out what each person is doing.
Oh, they were doing I think they were doing the Paria leaf.
Okay, I just saw Hobie pick that up off the floor and throw that. Hobie, come on, man. It must have been the 3
It was
second
3 second
rule.
rule.
We did 3 second rule. Sometimes 5 second rule. And if you're one of the dogs or the cats, they don't care if it's been there for 10 days. Oh, there we go with the scallions.
She's like, you need more.
She's like, get it in there.
와 이거 맛있잖아. 야 이거 맛있더라. 내가 먹어봤는데. 야야 해줄게.
There you go, Cookie. Trust them. They're not gonna kill you. It looks good though, it really does.
And there's actually a part 2 that is going to be on this video as well, where they take this kimchi and I guess they're doing some stuff.
They're gonna use it.
Yeah, they're going to use that. So
Because it'll be a cooking episode. Which, like I said, I love watching them cook.
내가 보기에 좀 짜 이거. 이건 빠르지 않겠니?
뭐 이거 애쳐야 돼. 이렇게 올리면 안 돼요.
Yeah, that's
이러니까
good,
내가 지금 그렇게 안 하는 거예요.
okay, that's the perilla leaves. Okay, so I just need to know what I'm looking at.
3장 올리고 아 됐다.
Hey, put 3 leaves and said it's a hard day.
Yeah. That's sugar for you.
하트가 사줬어요?
다 뽀개.
A big tub for the cabbage kimchi.
Oh yeah.
저 다 했습니다.
That looks good.
밥에 한번 싸서 이렇게 돌 말아가지고 입에 딱 넣으면
He's proud of it.
뭔가 헹궈지는 기분 아니에요?
You always feel accomplished when you cook something really good.
Exactly. And there's nothing like cooking something and watching people enjoy what you've cooked.
안 되죠.
You see, there's Jen doing everything by himself and them two struggling with the gloves.
Okay, you rub your fingers together on the end and it will open.
거의 이게 공장 기계.
Yeah, he is like a little mixing machine.
What's in there though?
Oh, it's the, I think they've had some seasonings in there with the radish. Mood.
They're having glove issues.
됐어, 이 정도는 됐대.
오케이 찬물 한번 헹궈 왔어요.
Y'all rub your fingers on the end.
On the
It'll
end,
open.
yeah. You rub those together, it will open up. Absolutely. Like with trash bags, things like that.
형아 연기 보여줘.
And the other two just relaxing back there on the couch.
Well, they've done with theirs.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were doing the
나는 거야.
Perilla leaf.
perilla leaves, yeah. Perilla leaf or whatever.
김치가 매워서
How do you
눈물이
pronounce
나.
it? I never know when they want the L's to be silent.
Tay don't cook. I don't think Tay's, that's V. I don't think he's interested in learning to cook. I don't think.
He's gotten more into it recently. But I don't think that was an interest then.
Okay, so if their eyes are burning, they definitely have something really seasoned in there. Probably that powdered red pepper, I believe I heard him say.
Probably the chilies and the onions. In there.
He's acting. Oh, be
careful.
There really is some stuff on there.
You don't want any of that in your eyes. I promise you.
I just want to know what's going on with the radishes, because is that just water?
Right now I think they have a little bit of, I can't remember what they put in there, but they're doing that first and then they're going to put in the kimchi.
Well, see, that's why I'm wondering, when's the kimchi going in?
Well, they have to do more prepping for the radish kimchi.
Yeah, because I mean, and I would almost think, and I don't know, I'm not from Korea, but I would almost think they would want those radish pieces to be a little thinner, where they would, maybe it would develop faster. Just my thoughts on it. I don't know. I'm not from there.
Well, they typically like them to be like cubes of potatoes almost. They like them to be
Which
that
takes
size.
a little bit longer too.
아 정말?
이거 어떻게? 눌러요 그러면. 안 돼요. 압축이 안 돼요.
Oh,
There you go,
mackerel,
Chris.
he is getting it in there.
너무 잘 써가지고
You can't waste it.
드는 거 아니에요?
Jen to the rescue.
Jen knows not to waste. You better press that butter in there.
Like, I don't think any of them wasted anything, quite honest. They still got cabbage they're working on, that's
Oh, yeah.
why.
전국이 팔뚝 정면을 가리잖아요.
Yeah, because that's the thing is that
동국이 팔뚝이 여기서
you do the
제일
cabbage kimchi in larger portions.
Okay, so. I guess they're gonna drain it now.
내가 물을 뿌릴 때는
Yeah.
손에 이렇게 뿌리는 거야.
Or what's see, I'm not a big liker of the seeds. The
It just feels odd to have that crunchiness in my mouth. It's not even taste. It's just the odd crunch.
yeah, I understand that some people like a little crunch in there, but I don't really like. Was those the
겉절이가 재료로 올리는
sesame seed? I don't like sesame. They always taste burnt to me, and that's even on burgers here in America. I am not a sesame seed girl. I just really aren't. I ain't.
짰는다.
I am not. Whatever.
알겠냐? 바지 때문이야.
형 면접수도 있어요.
아 괜찮아. 자 가자.
Our cats have lost it. Just don't mind them.
가만히 해 가만히.
I'd be such a hoot.
내가 보기에
Look at the plates.
불러서 잔치를 엽시다.
That is humongous.
You got it on your face, Tay. There you go.
They never know which camera they should be facing.
Okay, there go. There he goes. There we go with the probably the powdered pepper,
이 정도면
powdered red pepper. So that's what I've been waiting for.
뭐안 다치지?
Did they
안
get?
닫히는 게
Yeah.
아니라 네가 못 닫는 거야.
There you go. Yeah, you put those in large containers from what I'd seen.
Yeah, there you go.
Just get the sides.
Both
There you go.
sides, yeah, all right.
Those containers are very helpful, especially with the overstocking of food in it.
형님 그 맛
See, pork belly looks like bacon.
조그맣게 잘라주세요.
왜 고기
That was
좋아하지
boiled pork,
Yeah,
though.
boiled pork.
돼지의 잡내를 잡고
It's bull pork belly, they think they
이거는 다
said.
잘라놓고 왜 안 하냐?
키로수대로 한 거예요. 키로수대로.
그냥 하세요. 에, 우리도 다 했습니다.
Yeah, they did all that work, at least use them.
Oh, God, these
잠깐만요.
been Jack Stones.
아, 여기 깻잎찜이 자꾸 증거인멸 시도하려 하네. 진짜. 박지민이 갑자기 나한테 오더니 님 이거
What do I do with all this?
뭐 이러네. 양념장
Busted.
치워버렸는데 양념장을 전 멤버들한테 이렇게 위생적이지 못한 거 전 인정 못합니다. 그러니까 인정받으면
Honey, the producers ain't that generous.
예적으로
Oh, he wants her to try it, and that way, if it's good, they said they'd clean up.
이거는 무시를 할 수가 없습니다. 음식은 정성입니다.
It is all about hard work.
따봉 한번 해주시죠.
There you go.
아하, 청소 열심히 하겠습니다.
맛있어요. 예.
난 레시피대로 1kg 만들었습니다. 1kg.
It's too fresh.
그게 당연히 같은 경우를 놔둬야 되는데. 양념은 맛있네요, 진짜.
See, because that one requires a little more fermenting since it's thicker.
It definitely.
야, 하트, 야, 하트.
There's the hard one.
They keep finding the heart one.
아, 근데 고생했다. 진짜 고생했다, 두비.
색깔이 살인데.
나왔어.
It looks good.
나온 거야. 야, 이거 찍어야겠다.
I swear, I'm a sucker for red foods.
만족. 이거 진짜 대만족. 김치.
Maybe done took a picture of it.
They gonna post it.
Now pork belly and radish kimchi. 3 cream butters, cabbage kimchi, perilla kimchi with crab something.
And there's burdock kimchi that was made. There's all the kimchis.
Those are
Well,
4
before
different ones.
they made, because
Yeah.
I think there's 3 other ones.
비땀 눈물이 담긴 음식들인데.
아, 오늘 느꼈습니다. 김치 만드는 거 정말 쉽지 않아.
와,
Yeah, it's difficult.
Every bit that's been cleaned up.
사서 드신 적이 없대요, 아직. 그거는
His mom's never brought kimchi so far.
저는 어릴 때 한 5년 정도 같이 어머니랑 김장을 했는데 그때 느끼던 거랑은 좀 다른 것 같아. 그때는
야, 깍두기 진짜 대박이다.
정국이가 잘 버무렸어. 약간 설렁탕 들어가야 될 것 같은 비율이야.
딱 일주일만 기다려봐요.
Yeah, you gotta let those sit for a while.
잠시만요, 여러분. 자, 이거를 한 팀이 만들었고요. 네. 이거를 한 팀이 만들었고요.
아니요, 여기 수육도 만들어주세요.
요거를 한 팀이 만들었습니다.
여러분들 이거 먹어봐요.
이게
난리 납니다.
작아가지고.
원래 좀 많이 담그는 김치가 아니에요.
경쟁하려 하는 건 아니지만 그래도 어쨌든 만들었으니까
네.
제일 맛있게 만든 팀을
The best. I swear they make a competition out of everything, even though they were making this just for fun. Hey,
Right.
let's see what the best one is.
Yeah, let's go ahead and make it a competition.
과정을 다 지켜보겠습니다.
이거 다 드시면
Now this grading I don't feel is right, and you'll see it in a second, and I'll explain.
네, 어쨌거나 수익도 저희가 만들었습니다. 겉절이부터 시작입니다. 겉절 맛있어.
괜찮은 느낌이신가 봐요.
She just shakes her head and gives thumbs ups.
She's a true judge. She does not portray anything on her face. She's like,
No.
and then goes on.
여러분 깍두기는 익어야 됩니다. 근데 깍두기 익어야 돼요.
Yeah, it has to be fermented.
처음 만들어 보고 처음 먹어봤는데 저 맛이 맞는 건지 아까
깨맛 깨맛.
자 이제 깻잎 김치 갑니다. 깻잎 김치.
아, 걔는 누가 만든 거야, 진짜.
오야.
이게
선생님께서 이게 마음이 너무 고우셔서.
자, 그러면 선생님이 뽑은 베스트 김치는?
월드스타답게 굉장히 잘.
말솜씨도 역시 최고급이십니다.
정성이 너무너무 들어가지고 어느 것을 1등으로 해야 될지 잘 모르겠고 그렇지만 정성이 제일 많이 들어간 것은
Okay, now you can't really rightfully judge based on how hard you worked, and you'll get it when I explain. If you hadn't already seen it.
And she actually liked the radish. Well, no, that was because it took
It took
so
the
much
longest,
longer to
yeah.
work on. didn't really have anything to do with taste because she did say they're all good.
So she should have said they're all good. I can't.
And I'm not going to choose.
I mean, because she has the authority to say she doesn't have to choose.
And I really think that's what kind of put her on the spot as well.
And me being me, I just said I'm not choosing one. They're all good. I can't pick. I have the authority here. I'm the guest.
She looks precious.
She is a precious little woman.
Look, they're going to just go ahead and start cleaning the.
Oh, yeah.
Look, okay, Jen, chew it, swallow it, bud.
Just please don't get choked.
Look at him.
He gets some big bites. I always worry he's gonna get choked on it somehow. But I hope he chews it good.
우엉김치 맛있다. 우엉김치 한번 먹어보고 싶었어.
Burdock looks interesting. I do want to try it one day. Even though at first glance it would look really strange to be considered a food group.
야, 우리 보고 돼지 잡아오러 갈 수 있어.
깍두기는 못 먹어서 아쉽네요.
Look, Jungkook with time with his mouth full.
하고 계신 여러분들은 정말 김치가 이렇게 손이 많이 가는 음식이었어. 할 수도 있겠지만
한국의 대표 음식답습니다.
Yeah, Korea's signature dish.
Kimchi.
숙성이 돼야 철이 들고
Oh,
멋있어지지.
Cookie's hair's messed up.
김치 역시 그런 거 아니겠어?
Oh, V was doing that.
V always does that.
He's looking at it messed up. Jungkook don't care.
여러분 달려라 방탄은 계속됩니다. 안녕.
They were enjoying that kimchi. I mean, it really does look good.
Oh, he's got it on his. Oh my God, he's got it on his clothes. V.
And kimchi.
Now this is like part 2 of the kimchi battle because they're actually going to cook kimchi dishes.
But since the burdock and the perilla leaves were smaller portions, they don't use those in this one.
So it's just the radish.
It's the radish and the cabbage.
And the cabbage.
Our cats have lost it.
Yeah, our cats always.
They lose it at the wrong time.
I swear.
See, there's the kimchi.
And they're probably in a totally different place too.
태영이 그 저국에
이거밖에 생각 안 나.
Yeah, I think they're actually in a big kitchen now.
I think they're in the same kitchen from the first one.
이 김치와 함께.
오늘 달려방탄의 주제는 지난번에 직접 담근 김치를 이용한 음식 만들기입니다.
So this is what they.
Cooking.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna choose what they cook.
자, 아무거나 주십시오.
과연 운명은
And you see how they choose, they have no idea.
Now I feel.
지민이가 깍두기가
See, now I feel like whoever was gonna get the radish kimchi was gonna get gypped. Because they both seem to want the cabbage kimchi, which if you were to look up Google right now, I dare you to look up on Google
Just
right now,
kimchi.
just the word kimchi alone. Almost every picture on there is gonna be cabbage kimchi. That is a favorite. And it's the most well known, and it's the most loved.
It's a staple, basically.
I think I've maybe run on one green onion and one cubed radish kimchi picture on Google.
Right.
And I went through like 3 different pages.
And that's just doing the word kimchi.
So, really, if you think about it, one is not so well known and maybe not as a favorite.
And not as popular.
And then the other one is well known. Now, see, they seem disappointed that they got it. So they're like, all right, we'll make a lot of it. They're my favorite trio. V's trying to make light of the whole thing. Alright. So, japchae. If you look up, like I said, on Google has everything apparently. If you look up the most popular and best Korean dishes, japchae is literally number 2 or number 3. It's going to be on that list behind kimchi. That is a very popular and loved dish as well. Like I said, whoever was going to get the radish kimchi dish was going to get gypped.
돈가스 김치 나베.
돈가스 김치나베요?
진짜 맛있죠. 살다는 나 그런 음식 처음 봐.
아니야, 맛있어요.
No, I've never heard of that.
김치나베라는 음식이 있다고?
깍두기 팀은 깍두기 볶음밥.
나 이거 생각하고 있었는데.
Radish kimchi fried
이런
rice.
거예요.
깍두기 돼지찌개.
깍두기 돼지찌개. 이건 처음 들어보는데? 신기한 요리를 많이 알고 갑니다.
See, it's just, it seems like the radish kimchi is not as well known.
No.
I mean, because they said that was a variation in a certain region.
제가 먹어봤거든요.
But the cabbage kimchi is known everywhere.
작은 거 드세요. 큰 건 아직 안 익었답니다.
어떠세요? 아직 익을
You should think about that's the original. And a lot of people who are traditionalists don't want to variate from it.
Deviate from it.
Deviate from
Yeah.
it, whatever the word.
멍치가 맛있어. 내가 먹어봤는데.
난 깍두기를 안 익은 게 왜 이렇게 맛있지?
I mean, there's some people who'd rather stick to the traditional dish instead of going to variations.
And one of them just said, I didn't say who it was, but I think it might have been Jimin. He said as far as the radish kimchi goes, it would ferment better if the pieces were a little bit smaller. So, and you learn these things as you go along, just in the whole process of cooking.
Yeah, they were saying it looked like it's like ginger kimchi. So there's so many variations of kimchi. The thing is, you just hear the cabbage one all the time. So really, like I said, what if the people who try this, which of course there's no person trying this because it's an uneven team. You know how a lot of people have this saying that not a lot of people like a Hawaiian pizza because it's the pineapple on it.
Pineapple don't go on pizza.
Most people like pepperoni pizza, but then you have the pineapple pizza or the Hawaiian pizza. There's that as well, because that's a variation of pizza from the original. So, and, not a lot of people like variations of added ingredients like apples or pineapples or certain seasonings on a pizza. It just doesn't seem right to them. So that would be the same thing as a traditionalist that likes cabbage kimchi but wouldn't like any of the variations of green onion, radish, ginger, the perilla leaves, or burdock. They probably wouldn't want to do that. So I mean, it's just.
So it's basically, her analogy is better than mine. A meat pizza, maybe a 3-meat pizza, maybe a Canadian bacon pizza, or a pepperoni pizza, or a hamburger pizza, or a sausage pizza, and you're gonna have maybe a pizza with some pineapple and apples or something on it. Yeah, one thing is heavily favored
and more traditional,
and something else is not maybe quite as known, and maybe it's not a favorite. So basically, what you've got is you've got a favored dish, and you've got a not as favored, not as well-known dish, but it is a dish that they do
especially since the radish kimchi is something they do in a certain region. That's just that area. Maybe they know that better.
So maybe the thing should have been, maybe they could have did the perilla leaves and the...
they should have done a variation instead of doing the best cabbage kimchi.
Right, you could have done the perilla leaves and then the cabbage kimchi, or you could have done cabbage kimchi on both, and then
variations,
and then tossed up with some different sides. You could have done that. That might would have been a little bit better. So this is,
it's not as evenly matched.
Right. Basically, this is not going to be an even playing field because one of these is very favored, and the reason we know it's very favored is the ones we watch. They're forever eating
cabbage kimchi. I hardly ever see them eating another variation.
Yeah.
The other ones I've seen them do is the green onion and the radish, but that's only a once in a blue moon experience.
Most of the time. It is the cabbage kimchi most of the time.
And it's not even right for us to see that there's 4 on one team and there's 3 on another.
Well, 7.
So that means more work's going to get done on one team versus the other team. And really, if you think about it, you have Jin and Suga on one team. They're both the best cooks in the house.
They're the well-known.
Yes.
They're the best. They're the the most seasoned with the cooking.
Well-rounded with the cooking.
Yeah. So you've got both of the cooks on one team.
And then you have 3 of the learners on the other. Then you have 2 who are out there. One's trying to learn. RM's trying to, but they don't trust him with cooking.
He don't cook.
Yeah, because they said that he burned a pan that was nothing in it. And V's not as seasoned in cooking at all.
Right.
Either.
So you've got a team of 4 with the 2 well-known and best cooks in the 7 on one team, and they're cooking the favorite dish of the kimchi with the cabbage. And then on the other team, you've got the 3 others who are still learning, and they're going to do the radish kimchi. So basically, this is not an even playing field.
Now, like I said, it was going to be a toss about who's going to get what dish. My point is the dish choices was not going to be evenly matched. Even if Jin and Suga's team got the radish kimchi, it just was not going to be favored.
It wouldn't. They probably, even though they made all these different ones, it probably would have been better just to have kept it as the cabbage kimchi, and then went different with it, because they were giving out these side things they were going to actually make with their kimchi, and they had not heard of some of those. There were not well-known things with them. They were saying, I've never heard of that. So let's go ahead and go forward with that.
Like I said, the uneven teams, they should have put somebody in the middle of their own group to do the judging. That'd have been even. They should have gotten one of the ones that don't cook do the judging.
Or one of the ones that cook, maybe.
Yeah. Because Suga cooked last time, and Jim was the judge.
Yeah.
I mean, because you think they'd be more well-rounded, especially with the judging factor of the actual texture it's supposed to be and taste-wise. They know better.
Well, I mean, I think they would probably know how they would all want it, too.
Well, that's different to taste preferences.
That's
and
right. They probably
textures.
should have put V on there maybe because V don't want to cook.
I mean, because he loves the kimchi, so he'd be a good judge.
자, 여러분 저희가 여기 세팅된 한번 해보죠. 이곳에 왔습니다. 여러분 정말 첫째도 안 돼, 둘째도 안 돼.
But it would be even better is if the person who's judging was blind to this.
Right, had not been in the room. That actually is a good point too that we can make is that the person who is the judge should not have been aware of which teams was which and which teams was making which dishes as well. So a judge should be blind completely before they go into this.
Because the thing is if they got somebody that was off the street in South Korea, most people in South Korea know who these guys are, and they're going to have a favorite regardless.
Right.
And if they were to see who was to cook what, they would go with the team of their favorite
They might
person.
would go with a bias
Usually.
instead of actually.
And then the producers we have seen, and you will see more as we go on, they have favorites, and you can tell which ones are their favorites. They're going to have their own favorite person in their groups, and they're probably going to choose whoever they want, depending on who that person is.
and
the people
then
are.
and then that being said too, you have the two who are most first in the cooking on one team as well. So that we got the scales that are sort of kind of uneven.
It's
at
a
this
very
point.
uneven playing field. It
So
really is.
the people behind that are watching them cook are also going to be the judges,
Which
and
I don't find fair.
and the judging should basically be blind.
It should be blind. That's how the best judging is done.
Just
it needs to be
saying.
fair all across the board. We like fairness. Sugar likes fairness. You should like fairness too.
대파도 어슷 다.
He's definitely most vocal about fairness.
어슷
Who?
썰기가 뭔지
Sugar.
Yes, he is.
어슷썰기랑 어슷?
Sideways or bias cut.
Bias cut. That's how we call it.
That's what we call it in America. It's a cut on the bias. Obviously, V's not going to cook, so maybe the teams are even as far as 3-3, but the two on the one are the cookers.
Well, typically the V and RM were doing cutting and mixing and all of that, so they got extra work done because two of them were doing it. But really, Sugar and Jen could handle a whole meal on their own. That's already not even. Them two didn't have to even be involved. You saw Jen, he was doing all the kimchi work by himself while RM and V were struggling with their gloves.
Yeah.
팀 옷, 계란이랑 밀가루랑
튀김 반죽?
할 수 있어요.
물기를 꼭 짜라고요?
Yes, you encourage Sugar. I like when they're encouraging each other.
Oh, yeah.
형 그래서 결국 어슷썰기가 뭔데요?
이렇게 싸는 거 이렇게.
Cut sideways, babe.
그 네이버에 쳐봐. 모든 방법 네이버에 나와 있어. 맞아, 고기 그냥 다 썰어가지고 그냥.
전부 다 넣을게요?
어차피 우리 먹을 거야.
No
이
wasting.
냄비 통에 비해서 너무 많으면 너무 많지 않아요,
오늘
진짜?
셰프 믿어봐 오늘.
아 돼지고기 너무 많은 것 같은데.
Oh no, that's a good amount of meat for the pot.
그냥.
튀김 반죽을 맛있게
Especially since Radish is
만드는
the star, you'd have a good bit in
거. 형
there.
이게 뭐야?
그거 튀김가루 같은데? 열이 있는지 확인한다.
Yeah, don't pour closer.
나한테 올리고당을 줘.
It's very pungent.
형 이게 어떤 종류의 튀김이에요?
돈가스.
돈가스 튀김가? 형이 원래
Cutlet.
이 정도면 돼요?
볶음밥이 들어갈 거? 그 정도.
See, and that's what's so bad is Sugar and Jen can handle a whole meal by themselves.
Right.
These three have no clue. They're having to question each other. How do you feel this should be done?
Oh. Yeah, that's the right
Yeah.
music for that.
기름을 잘 두르고 있었어야 됐는데.
조금만 믿으라며요.
You told me to
See?
trust you.
they don't know.
벌써 망하면 어떡해.
You must need to have someone experienced on their team.
얼마나 하는 거예요? 아니 얘가 부어지잖아. 아니 뭐 육회예요 형님?
It was more even the last time.
가파.
짠 거만 골라서 넣을게요.
설탕, 참기름, 깨소금을 넣어 무친다.
Ugh, sesame oil and sesame seeds. Ugh.
내가 묻혀도 되는
I don't like
건가?
sesame seeds, so I
You
don't like sesame oil.
You don't want sesame anything.
No.
하지만들 어디 있노?
파를 썰으라는데 파기름을 쓰라고 하는데 뭐
Get a cookie.
Yeah, he's cutting on the bias.
해 먹을래?
해주시면요.
아 형이 해줄게.
오.
오늘 해보고 맛있으면.
계란 푸는 법을 알려드리도록 하겠습니다. yes, 이런 좋은 소리가 나야 되고요. 거기서
This is hard.
이렇게
He's gonna mix the eggs. I guess that was for the batter, he said.
Yeah, he got a little bit of eggshell in there.
이 정도가 5cm 아니야?
이 정도 10cm 정도.
야 이게 어떻게 10이야? 이게 5지. 이거 10cm 아니에요?
이게 1cm잖아.
Jin knows. Trust Jin.
오야 말이 나는데 이거? 말이 나는데 진짜 이거?
I genuinely liked it.
팔자.
Let's sell it.
야 우리 요리 좀
We should open a restaurant. Jin's already got a restaurant. Serve it there and say, this is the Jimin and J-Hub special.
That's right.
깍두기가 나왔어. 깍두기를 사야겠다.
이거 양파 이거 껍데기 벗겨줘가지고. 썰어 이렇게 썰어 이렇게.
Now, this is the funny part. He shows him how to cut the onion.
이런 식으로.
So I don't even figure out what this is.
입히고 또 한 번 입히고 또 한 번 입히고 이렇게 해서
Okay, so he's breading the. What is he breading? The pork?
I think it's a pork cutlet. Or like a pork patty.
야 오늘 점심 해결됐어 얘들아. 이거 먹으면 돼. 끝났어? 점심 해결됐어.
야 정구야 깍두기 진짜 잘 담은 것 같다 우리.
근데 형 그 저기 뭐야
어디 뭐?
이거 소스 만들어야 돼요.
자 소스 부어.
예?
이건 이제 내가 넣기만 하면 되니까 소스 넣어.
이거 형님 그러면 이게 설탕이고요.
오케이.
이게 멸치 이거 넣은 다음에 이 숟가락으로 넣으면 돼요. 이거 싹 다 넣고
싹 다 넣으면 안 되지.
이거 반신기 다 다른 거예요 제가.
그리고 이거 다시 썰어요.
넣고
Jimin's ahead of you.
마지막에 좀 더 넣어줘야 돼. 그럼 끝이에요. 자 소스 가져갑니다.
I think Jimin's been practicing.
살아있다 아이가.
He knows it. He knows his stuff. So Jimin's been practicing. Sugar's handling the whole deal, a meal by himself.
Yeah,
진짜 일본 맛 나. 뭐야?
tastes like Japanese food. They do enjoy Japanese food as well.
진짜로? 진짜 일본에서 먹는 그 일본 양념? 그 일본 맛이야.
Do with his use seasonings differently.
생각 넣으니까 일본 맛이 나. 야 먹어봐. 일본 국물 맛. 나 연애.
It's the taste of Japan.
이혼 아지.
Well, Sugar can officially cook Japanese food.
시부야야 어떻게? 도쿄다요. 한 번 더 한번 해봐. 계란물 한번 더 계란.
Okay, so he's instructing V on how to properly bread the cutlets.
간장. 진은 일단 여기 있는데요.
지는 필요 없습니다.
진 필요 없어요. 마음 많이 아프네요. 남준이 그 무슨 썰기야? 이거?
Look, ham.
야! 내가 이렇게 자르래 누가 다
He dicing the onions after Jin told him specifically to slice it. Just a slice.
형.
Does his wife still have half an onion?
Ariam, that's not the point.
잘 썰어보겠습니다. 하나만 더. 야, 왜 이렇게 애가 똥똥해졌냐? 두껍게 하라. 아니야,
It'll be fine. It'll be breaded and fried anyway.
Oh yeah.
이거 좀 더 부어 먹자.
Fried food's as good as long as it ain't too greasy.
말씀드리지만 정말 세상의 모든 요리사분들께 정말 각별한 존경을 표하고요. 식당에서 일하시는 우리 많은 진짜 형님, 누님 분들 진짜 감사합니다.
Well, they typically love to do it. That's why they don't have a problem with making all that food all the
But they
time.
do work hard. People in restaurants do work very hard. It is not an easy job, and we're not talking about Burger King, McDonald's, or Wendy's. We're talking about actual restaurant workers who work in a restaurant and make different meals and things. We're not talking about frying patties up and slapping them on some bread.
Frozen patties, more or less. Mood. That was good.
What was it? What is that? Was that one of those glass noodles?
Yeah.
Okay. I really want to try those.
나 이거 대용량으로 하고 있대. 우와 진짜 돈까스다. 그냥 돼지 살이었어요?
아니 약간 돼 있는 거였는데.
플레이팅을 이걸로 할까?
좋은데? 아 근데 이게 뭔가 좀 더 멋있게 한가?
이게 좀 더 일본식 느낌. 그지? 그러면 우리 제목을
All them rustic looking plates and bowls.
남준아, 헬프 물 버릴 건데.
We just have a person who destroys a lot of things in the house, so we don't like to have a lot of porcelain dishes.
뜨거워. 젓가락하고 숟가락도만 해. 빨리빨리 야 무겁고 뜨거워 나도. 잠깐 비켜.
Get tongs.
Well, you just ask him to help, dude.
Get tongs.
진짜 돈가스 너무
They got
맛있겠다.
not, see, there's tongs right there. Just get you an extra pair of tongs.
돈가스 한 몇 개만 더 해주면 안 되냐?
돈가스 여기도 있어.
네, 우리 하고 나서.
형 돈가스 때문에 우리 진 거 같아요.
왜?
돈가스 너무 맛있겠다.
아니야.
형이 돈까스를 좋아해서 그런 거 아니에요?
Looks
나
good.
지금 변수는 이 김치야. 이 김치가
Yeah, they
들어간
said
맛이
that
어떻게 맛있어?
Jimin loves those
간장.
fried pork patties.
Well, it looked good.
I think that's something they said that mostly kids like that. Like, you know how over here we have chicken nuggets and kids love those? I think that's kind of like their chicken nugget almost.
그럼 나 아까 액젓 넣은 거야? 그게 아니라?
Oh no.
액젓이야.
Jin, come on now.
이거 너무 많이 넣은 거
That's an easy little mistake. You gotta read all your stuff.
섞어.
형,
That's one of the mise en place is very important.
You always have everything out there and ready, and you don't confuse things.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if they're two different colors, like salt, sugar.
여기 다 해야지 여기 이렇게. 난 남은 소세지로 요리를 하겠다.
It's mean.
And that's a weird thing to me. They call Franks or Wieners or Weenies. They call them sausage, but it's really just Franks from what I can tell.
It's Frank's.
봤어?
But then, because you know how we have words, variations of everything, they have typically more simple worded stuff. So that's why they probably consider it sausage since it looks just like it.
너무 맛있는데? 어? 네.
Just add a little bit of water in it, it'll take out the pepper flavor.
He said, pick it out. Did you see that?
야, 형.
Obi said, pick it out.
Just put some water in, trust me.
안 익었다고요?
큰일 났어. 난리 난다고.
우리 깍두기탕 진짜 난리다.
Put a little sugar in if you need to.
He's salting it some more.
Or water. Water dampens the flavor of pepper.
아, 기가 막히게 망했네.
형, 근데 전자레인지 어디 있어요?
Oh, he's going to microwave him some rice, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Swear I think I've been bit by something.
그거 아니죠? 형? 이거 전자레인지.
Yeah, I have something on my hand over here too.
오븐에 돌려야 돼.
Swear is itching.
오븐에 돌려도 된대.
그러니까 맞잖아요.
오븐에 돌려.
Heat it up in the oven.
맞죠 이거? 모르겠다. 네가
Why
한번
not?
해봐.
Y'all got this.
작가인데 표정이 안 좋은데?
Don't worry about them.
The writers should not be worried. They have everything just taken care of.
That looks good.
That was the pork belly, was it not? I think.
I'm thinking.
맛있지 않아요?
맛있어.
아니, 깍두기가 아닌 거.
치즈가 너무 과하면 안 되겠다.
그냥 없는 게 나을 수도 있다. 일단은
치즈가 없는 게 나을
Be better without cheese.
아, 소리 있고 이거.
Yeah, they like them some cheese in there. Come on, Jen, you got it.
It's just an egg. Just the easiest
It's just
thing.
fried egg.
Yeah, it's the easiest thing you got, dude. You know this.
He's trying to cut it a specific way so it looks neat.
Ah, well,
At least eat the white part after you cut it off.
형, 남준이 형 그쪽은 거의 다 됐어요?
There you go, eat it. It's edible.
it looked like nothing but egg white, though. I thought he had some yolk in there.
I think he did. He might have did it over easy.
Oh, okay.
좀 약간 다른 식으로 한번 썰을게요. 아미라고.
So they typically do poached and over easy eggs from what I've seen.
하면 얘네들이 벌어져서 이상해지지 않나? 오, 벌써 벌어져. 중간중간을 시작하면
He made him a heart one too out of the little weenie or sausage. There you go. Baby knows how to cook. It's really not.
Shorty, look at that little heart.
Oh, yeah.
It's heart sausage.
That's so cute.
아버지의 말로 볶음밥을 만들 때 손에 실고 있으면 안 된대.
Yeah, you always keep busy.
계속 휘저어줘야 된대 볶음밥은. 아빠 진짜 자.
You don't want it to stick to the pan, and you also don't want it to be overcooked either.
네, 너가 하트의 주인공이다.
He's just enjoying the food. He's not even doing anything. He might be waiting for those pork cutlets if they already haven't got it out in this area.
들어가겠습니다. 야, 근데 돈가스에도 약간
Yeah, ketchup's what's going on. Like I said, it's like a chicken nugget.
해 먹어도 돼.
There you go. It sounds good though.
우리가 요리를 한번
I gotta try
해봐서
one
그런지 여유가 생겼네. 어? 맛있다. 그죠? 야, 아까 그 소스 그대로 만들어가지고 돼지고기랑 한번 볶아볼까? 맛있겠다.
There he goes. He's gonna make another dish.
Yeah, yeah. They know what they like.
와, 형 진짜 멋있다.
When you got a cat that's always knocking at your damn earbuds.
장난 아니에요. 나 요리 잘한다니까.
Well, it's literally Jen and Sugar doing everything, and Arim's helping Jen. And V's just standing off to the side dance.
He's the gopher.
He was doing the pork cutlets. And since they're
The
already
breading.
good, he has nothing to do.
Yeah, he did the breading part. And that's important.
됐어, 맞았어. 계획대로 하고 있어.
It's got to be breaded properly in order for it to be right.
That's the glass noodles, I believe.
이렇게만 하고 있었지.
Arim, you gotta actually stir them, bud.
내가 지금 뭘 만들고 있는지.
Maybe he'll learn.
몇 분 남았나요? 11분 40분.
I mean, cooking requires
A lot of attention.
being taught and practice. I mean, so you know, you can't just jump into a kitchen and know how to do it.
Because I started with ramen and breakfast before I started getting into the hard stuff.
Why they're stirring it? It's hot, but why don't they just get something else to I'm very confused about that.
They could just get tongs.
That's what I was thinking.
진짜 뭔 요리인지 모르겠네.
I guess they like doing everything by hand.
Look, now see those really, if you look at it, and they've decorated them, but they're really just franks. Dude, there you go, there you go, there you
Be
go.
careful, be careful.
Don't those look good though?
They look good.
Glass noodles.
That's my mom's japchae. There you go, honoring your mama.
Maybe when we go to the grocery store, we should look for glass noodles.
I think they have them in the Asian section. I'm going to say. Not many stores over here carry a lot of Korean products or Japanese products.
아 이건 진짜 끝장이다 끝장. 마이크 앞 해야 돼
It's
이거.
more Chinese than anything.
마이크 대신
Yeah.
이제 국자 줄게요, 국자.
혹시 이거 전자레인지 있나요?
Yes, babe.
Yeah, that's
They
where
already
the rice
used it.
is.
It was
Yep.
hidden.
Oh, look, he found it.
크기 자체가 햇반 하나만 넣기엔 너무 미안한
It's alright, V did it too.
퀄리티인 것 같아요.
와, 두 가지 버전.
Instant rice is typically really good.
야 멋있다 야.
Look at that, that looks good.
I never did get the.
It's a meme.
I know, I just don't get it.
It's just funny how it's posed. I don't get it either, but
남수가
I'm not very cultured in sexual customs.
농담 아니야. 와.
That looks so
It really does.
good.
The decorator.
아 다 됐습니다.
형 완성했어요.
Was it bacon, wasn't it? Wasn't it bacon?
Bacon
on the
skewered on an onion.
On an onion, yeah. There you
야,
go.
약간 꽂힌데.
Everything is better with bacon. Or everything is better with bacon.
메인이에요. 메인 요리를 잘해야 돼요. 수업은 잘해봐서 필요가 없어요.
Bacon is good because it has a natural salty component.
이렇게 돼 있는.
And it's nice and crispy.
뭔가 좀 이상한데?
뭘 더 넣기에는 좀 그래.
야, 잡채 살 좀 찾아봐.
지난주 왜안 올리는
You'll be fine. It's a favorite anyway. They'll like it.
그러니까요. 진짜로.
와, 이 형 뭐야? 진짜 일본 향기. 나 오늘 무슨 딱 요리만 했다.
He did a whole dish by himself.
야, 이거 대박이다.
You know, I question if Sugar is actually more skilled than Jin is because he did a whole dish by himself. And he didn't even know the dish.
신선하게 보이기 위해서.
He's got he's definitely got some
Talent.
skill, no knowledge of the food and maybe the tastes and stuff like that. Yeah.
윤기 형이 만들었고.
That's more of a skill.
No, I mean skill. I think is more something that you sort of kind of learn
Yeah, I'm sure he
as
did.
you're going. But
My friends don't know how to cook nothing.
right, now that looks really good.
That stew looks so good.
So that probably was cheese on there.
Yeah, that was cheese. All those look really good. I'm
I
sorry.
really like the stew.
That looks delicious. And Sugar's stew looks good too. Look at that. Now,
There's the bacon on the onion.
and I feel like the japchae looked a little too brown from what I've seen. Japchae look sort of, you know, green and pretty.
나베인 거를 감안하고 드셔야 돼요. 김치찌개가 아니에요.
형님들 우리 이거 메인은 국물이 메인이에요.
저게 약간 볶음밥이 좀 짤 수가 있습니다.
뼛속부터 우리 매니저야. 저 옷도 BTS 크루 저거.
Three learners did really good,
Yes.
냉정하기로 소문나.
especially since Jimin and J-Hope were doing most of the cooking.
절대 안 된다고 하시거든요.
And Jungkook was trying to get that kimchi fried rice just right.
여기에 그냥 몸을 담그셨는데요?
과연.
대충인데 깍충입니다.
자, 두 분이 같은 선택을 할지 다른
So that was even. They both, one of them liked one and one liked the
같은
other.
선택을 했나요?
Just get one person up there. You didn't need two extra.
아니라고요?
No, they brought in two extra.
제가 보니까 헐하고 설레발을 치면 헐레발이 됩니다.
아, 좋지.
아, 그리고 오디오 감독님이
오감 기가 막히시죠?
오감이 뛰어나신 분이죠.
That don't mean nothing if he don't favor you.
감독님 들으시죠. 사랑해요.
Unfortunately. See, they got two extra. Why'd you need that? You could have just got one extra person. See, the directors just ain't right.
감독님 감사합니다.
See, it's overkill.
Right.
방탄소년단 최고의 솔로.
저희의 최고 사령관이죠.
Now they're gonna get another person. For what?
Well, I think they were gonna, I guess, just get them all. The thing is a lot of these people are more traditional about stuff, and maybe they're not as open to trying
They're typically
something.
more traditional.
They're not as open to maybe trying something that's not as a traditional dish.
Maybe it's not even from their region either, because I think a lot of these people who are their directors are from Seoul, which is the capital, which is basically where cabbage kimchi is actually based from. See, 4-1. Why'd you need that many people to judge?
Right.
You didn't need 5 of them to judge.
They did the the radish kimchi, and they did the cabbage.
And the Jungkook's trying theirs.
Okay, he's trying theirs to trying each other's.
더 하시죠. 각성하고 오겠다.
Okay.
너무 쏠았어.
Well, you need to judge each other instead of your producers.
청양고추를 더 넣었을까? 깊고 안 깊고.
야, 내가 봤을 때 매니저 형 한 분 붙이고 감독님들 다 이쪽으로 갔어. 너무 하신 거 아닙니까?
Yeah, I feel like that was overkill.
엔딩 진짜 우리. 뭐 먹어. 엔딩이야.
Still,
자.
Now, where's everybody eating? Now, Sugar, I think, stayed on his side after he tasted.
well, he's trying the japchae that Jin and Arian did, because he didn't get to try it.
집에서 해먹으면 되겠어요.
아 이제 뭘 해야 될까요?
And they was enjoying it too.
해버리면 어떡해?
형 이거 한번 먹어봐요. 아직 평가 안
아
돼.
그러네. 야 저거 먹어야지. 야 바짝 말랐어.
아니 이거 피규어 아니에요? 피규어?
It's bacon.
아니 먹는 거예요. 자,
Well, they gotta have the onion and the bacon.
진찜에서 먹어야지. 진찜. 딱 하나씩 진찜 먹으면 되겠네 3명이니까.
가위바위보 진 사람 이거 한 입 베어 물고 먹게 할래?
안 내면 진거 가위가위보. 안 내면 진거 가위가위보. 말하는 사람이 걸리죠. 안 내면 진거 가위가위보.
Poor old Jimin. He never hardly wins at rock paper scissors.
네가 말하니까 네가 걸린다니까.
자, 해보겠습니다. 바로 엔딩 멘트 해주세요.
가자.
방탄소년단의 요리망은 계속된다.
달려. 방탄.
There you go, get the bacon in there.
That's exactly right. Throw that bacon in there.
성공!
Well, they still eat.
됐습니다. 자, 음식물 뭐야 돼?
Now they're gonna do the cleaning, just like last time.
That's the penalty. Yep, gotta clean up the kitchen.
But at least Toby and Jimin like to clean. I'm not really sure about Jungkook. He hasn't really said much about it.
가위가위보.
And who knows, since Jimin's dad owns a cafe or a little restaurant, I'm sure he probably worked there maybe with a cleaner.
Maybe, you never know.
야 신기하다 이거. 자, 돌입합니다.
Now, I find it odd if someone clean differently.
시작을 하자. 오 지민이 되게 깨끗한데 지금?
저 청소
Because
잘하는
Hobie's cleaning with them big green gloves.
그거 말고는 잘해요.
Jungkook's cleaning with the little clear gloves. And Jimin's cleaning barehanded.
Exactly. And you might as well do it that way.
온도를 확인하고.
I hate it if I were to do it with gloves and the water gets in my gloves.
In the glove.
Ooh.
Exactly.
It
And
feels
I used
awful.
to a long time ago when I started doing dishes a long time ago. I would do it with gloves. I don't do it with gloves anymore.
Nope.
Anyway, that ends our kimchi battle. And like we said, we thought it was sort of kind of an uneven battle. Nonetheless, it was still very enjoyable to watch, and it makes you hungry. It makes you want to go get something to eat.
Yeah, I need to get me something to eat too, because that made me hungry.
Okay. Now, as I said, that was the kimchi battle. It was 2 parts, and if you haven't done it already, we would very much appreciate for you to share our videos with your friends and family. Give us a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe. We have only been doing this about 6 months, so we don't have a whole lot of subscribers yet, but we are working hard. We actually full-time college student. I'm a full-time worker, full-time wife, full-time mother, and so we're trying to get as much out there for you guys, and sometimes it does take us a little bit of time, especially with editing of videos when there's copyright issues. However, please be sure to subscribe, and until our next video, peace.